If you've been feeling heavy, foggy, drained, or anxious for no clear reason, I want to explain what's actually happening in your energy field because there's a specific reason. And I don't mean that in a vague woo woo way. I mean, there is a literal, explainable mechanism for why sensitive people, especially empaths, HSPs, or intuitives, they end up carrying weight that doesn't belong to them. Why you can wake up feeling absolutely fine and spend 20 minutes in a crowded space and come home utterly exhausted. Why you can absorb someone else's bad mood without them saying a single word. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's happening, how to recognize when your field is congested, and what you can do about it, including what a professional clearing actually looks like and when you might need one. If you don't know me already, I'm Heather, an energy healer and channel from Divine Ascension Company. So let's get into it. Let's start with the foundation because I think a lot of people hear the word energy and immediately either fully believe it or fully dismiss it. And I want to meet you somewhere more useful than either of those places. Your body runs on energy. That's not a metaphor, that's biology. Your nervous system operates on electrical impulses. Your cells communicate through biochemical signals. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet outside of your body. That is measurable. That is science. Now expand that out a little bit. If your physical body generates an electromagnetic field, then everything else does too. Other people, spaces, situations, the collective emotional weight in a room full of people who are under stress, the residual energy in a hospital or a courthouse or a home where people have recently been fighting. Energy is real and it moves and it accumulates in fields, including yours. Now, here's where it gets specifically relevant for empaths and highly sensitive people. Most people have a reasonably intact energetic boundary, not because they built it intentionally, but because their nervous system naturally processes and releases most of what it encounters. It usually moves through and out. Empaths and HSPs don't really work that way. Your sensitivity, the thing that makes you attuned, perceptive, deeply feeling, and gifted at reading people and spaces, well, that same sensitivity means that your field is more porous. You don't just notice energy, you absorb it. You take it in, process it, and sometimes you process it so thoroughly that it doesn't leave. It settles in your field and starts to feel like it's yours. This is not a flaw. I want to be really clear about that. I'm one too. Your sensitivity is not a malfunction. It's a feature of a system designed for a particular kind of awareness. But like any highly sensitive system, it requires maintenance that less sensitive systems don't need. Think of it this way: a fine instrument, a really good microphone, a precision piece of equipment. It picks up everything. That's the whole point. That's what makes it exceptional. But it also picks up interference, static, background noise that a cheaper instrument wouldn't even register. And if you've never cleaned that interference out and just let it sit in there, eventually it affects the instrument's ability to do what it's designed to do. And your energy field is that instrument. And one of the most important skills that you can develop, and one of the most important questions to start asking is this mine? When you're feeling something, is it originating within you or did you pick it up somewhere? The feelings that aren't yours often have a specific quality to them. They tend to come on suddenly. They don't quite match the context of your actual life. You can't trace them to a thought or a memory or a situation. They're just there, and they feel slightly foreign, even if they feel real. And when you consciously release them, when you name them as not yours and let them go, there's a sense of relief that's disproportionate to the effort, like your system was waiting for permission to put something down. That's accumulated energy. And for most sensitives, it's happening almost constantly in the background, without any awareness that it's happening at all. So, what does it actually look like when your energy field is congested? Because I want you to be able to recognize this in yourself, not just as a concept, but as a lived experience. Physically, it could be fatigue that doesn't respond to sleep. You rest and you're still tired. Tension that lives in specific places like the shoulders, the chest, or the back of the neck that doesn't fully release no matter how much you stretch or massage it. It could be brain fog, that particular quality of heaviness where thinking takes more effort than it should. Disrupted sleep, either difficulty falling asleep or waking up at 3 a.m. with your nervous system running hot for no clear reason. On the emotional side, it could present itself as anxiety that doesn't match your actual life. This is one of the most common things that I hear from clients. I don't have a reason to feel this anxious. My life is actually okay, but I just feel this sense of dread. That's often not yours. It could also look like irritability that comes out of nowhere, an emotional heaviness that feels like depression but doesn't quite behave like depression. It comes and goes. It shifts after you've been in certain spaces or around certain people. I know for me personally, I have experienced this one a lot. Mentally, you could have difficulty making decisions that would normally be easy, circular thinking patterns, the same thoughts on a loop that you can't seem to exit, feeling stuck in a way that doesn't respond to logic or planning or even trying harder. A kind of mental static that makes it hard to access your own clarity. And spiritually, and this one matters for those of you who rely on your intuition, there's a sense of disconnection, that sense that your guidance has gone quiet, that you can't quite access the channel that you normally have access to, feeling cut off from yourself at a deeper level. This often happens when the field is congested enough that the signal can't get through the static. The question that I always ask clients to sit with is this: does this feel like me, or does this feel like something on top of me? Because there's a difference. Depression, grief, legitimate anxiety, actual fatigue, these have roots in your life. You can trace them. They make sense in context. Accumulated energy often does not. It kind of floats. It's heavy without being grounded in anything specific. And when it clears, the relief is immediate and often surprising because you didn't realize how much you were carrying until you weren't carrying it anymore. Some things that make accumulation worse: high stress environments, conflict, even conflict that you're not directly involved in, grief, both yours and other people's, crowds, hospitals, courthouses, anywhere people are experiencing acute distress. Too much news or social media, which is essentially mainlining the collective emotional field, and people in your life who are energetically draining, whether they mean to be or not. If several of those are regular features of your life and you're not doing anything to actively clear your field, well, it accumulates and it compounds. And at some point, the weight of it starts affecting everything. Okay, so what do you do about it? I want to talk about two things: what I do in a professional clearing session and what you can do on your own between sessions for ongoing maintenance. In a session with me, here's what actually happens. I come into your energy field with your permission, remotely, because energy work doesn't require physical presence, and I do a full body scan. I'm looking at the different layers of your field: your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, your energetic body. I'm identifying where the congestion is, what kind of energy it is, where it came from, if that's even relevant. Some of what I find is that accumulated external energy, which is other people's emotions, environmental energy, collective field energy. Some of it is energy that belongs to you that has gotten stuck, such as unprocessed grief, unexpressed anger, fear that never got to complete its cycle. Both need to be addressed, but differently. Then I release it. I use a combination of shamanic style energy healing techniques and my channeling ability to move what's stuck, dissolve what doesn't belong, and seal the places in your field where the boundary has gotten weak. Because a weak boundary is often how the accumulation started in the first place. What clients typically report afterward is feeling much lighter. That's almost always the first word. Lighter, clearer, more like themselves than they have been in so long. Sometimes there's an emotional release during or after. Sometimes there's tears, a sense of grief moving through, sometimes even laughter. The system processing what it's been holding. Sometimes the shift is subtle at first and builds over the following days. Sometimes it's immediate and significant. The most common thing that I hear is some version of, I didn't realize how heavy I felt until I felt the difference. How often do you need one? Well, that depends. If you're in a high stress season, working in a demanding environment, going through grief or a significant life transition, you might need this more frequently. Every 4 to 6 weeks isn't unreasonable. If your life is relatively stable and you have good daily hygiene practices, energetic hygiene, well, then a few times a year might be plenty. Your body will tell you that familiar heaviness, that creeping fog, that anxiety that doesn't match, those are all your signals. So now what can you do on your own between sessions? Daily energetic hygiene doesn't have to be complicated. Intentional breath work, even 5 minutes of conscious breathing where you're exhaling with the intention of releasing what isn't yours. That moves energy. Spending time in nature, especially near moving water. Taking a salt bath. Conscious body movement, not necessarily exercise or fitness, but to shake the energy through and out. My favorite is having little 15-minute dance parties in my office. Setting the intention at the start of the day only carry what belongs to you, and at the end of each day to release whatever it was that you picked up throughout your day. And one of the most important simple practices, this is the most powerful. When you feel something that doesn't quite fit, just ask out loud, is this mine? If it's not, you can say, I release this back to its source with love. It sounds simple, but it works. The key is regularity, consistency. You wouldn't skip brushing your teeth for weeks because nothing seemed wrong yet. Your energy field is the same. Maintenance before crisis is always easier than clearing after significant accumulation. So, heavy, foggy, drained, anxious for no clear reason. Now you know what's exactly happening and you have a framework for addressing it. Start with the daily practices. Notice if anything shifts. Pay attention to what feels like yours and what feels like something you might have picked up somewhere. And if you're ready for a full clearing rather than just these daily hygiene practices, or if you're carrying something that's been sitting there for a while, or even want to start from a clean slate, book a session with me. I'll put the direct link in the video description. I also have a free school community where we can go deeper into all of this. Energy work, spiritual tools, ongoing support for empaths and highly sensitive people. That link will be in the description as well. If this landed for you, share it with someone who needs it, and I'll see you in the next video.